What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about what is happening today with Lucid. I am also going to go over a lot of different articles that is affecting other EVs, but very similar to exactly what's been happening to Lucid. And so I'm going to talk about that and what that actually means for us as investors. In addition to, I will go over some updated data points and also tie it all together with some technical analysis at the end. But before I get into any of that, you guys know the deal by now. Smash the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. If you are new to the channel, I do daily videos on trending stocks, crypto, I do it all, so make sure you do subscribe. And if you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. And with that, let's get right to it. So I'm just going to show you the live ticker to my left, so you can see it is down 2.15%, 6.2 million as far as overall volume. So today, out of everything, we are getting a little bit more abnormal volume, so that's a very strong positive in my opinion at least. 51.2 million the average, so that's a 6-month average as well, and 382,000 shares being purchased by institutions and hedge funds today alone. So again, that is another positive in my opinion. So like I said, there are some things I do want to talk about why we are going down as much as we are, and it is largely linked to technicals. On a lot of the technicals, not necessarily just Lucid, but a lot of growth stocks as well, I'll have some bearish signals that are starting to form. So I'm going to talk about what those are at the end when I do a little bit more technical analysis. But like I said, there is a lot of things that's happening to other EV companies very similar to Lucid. And so more specifically as well, it does look like SEC is still on the hunt for EV SPACs, and the latest victim per se is Faraday Future. And when I go through this, it is very similar to exactly what happened with Lucid, because out of everything, I do get the occasional comment, and you can see comments on StockTwits and Twitter and things like that, people asking about the SEC, giving updates, things like that. So looking right here, so in this stage of Faraday Future, it does look like they are at the subpoena stage, which ultimately happened to Lucid in give or take around November. So the subpoena comes nearly 2 months after Faraday Future's internal investigation determines employees made inaccurate statements to investors and that its corporate culture failed to sufficiently prioritize compliance. This is exactly similarly what happened to Lucid. So coming from an investor standpoint, SEC is just hunting a lot of these, looking at a lot of their documents to see if they had everything in order. Like I've always said, it is going to come down to the fact if Lucid had documentation saying that they had no intention to deliver in the spring of 2021. So that is A. And B, if they had no intention to ever do 6,000 vehicles in 2021, because those were the initial claims that they let the investors know about. So that is at the end of the day what's happening to Lucid. And as of right now, like I've already done a specific video on the SEC, it is usually about 18 to 22 months as far as the overall investigation. Subpoena is near the tail end of it, so I do strongly feel we'll probably hear something near the end of 2022. But like I said, there's a lot of eerily similar things that's happening to a lot of EVs that has already affected Lucid, and I do strongly feel that not really much will come from the SEC investigation. And in theory, once they do close their investigation, Lucid will either have a small fine potentially, or they will rebound massively once the SEC does close out their investigation. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. And keep in mind, when the SEC closes their investigation without no findings, that ultimately means Lucid won. So that's a good positive for us as investors. And so looking right here as well, similarly, GM now. GM is ultimately pushing back their SUV. It is going to be by 2023, so that is definitely something they were anticipating it being done at the tail end of 2022. So similarly to our Gravity, we pushed ours back to 2024 when it was supposed to be at the tail end of 2023. So like I said, a lot of hate is coming towards Lucid because we're pushing things back, cutting production, but that is happening everywhere, especially considering as well even supply chain issues have been said by Tesla, Ford, and also recently NIO. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. A lot of people are really hating on EVs, more specifically as well Lucid, especially considering as well we fell so much. So this is something for us as investors, Lucid investors, to keep in mind that it's not necessarily happening just to Lucid. And at the end of the day, we still have a kick-ass product, good balance sheet, and those are some key takeaways that you need to keep in mind, because when it comes down to Lucid, it is a long-term investment, and when it comes down to patient investors, they are going to make the most. And as well, this article, not necessarily anything as far as a ripple effect or causing EVs any issues, but it does talk on how Tesla is going to have a record quarter with higher gas prices, and that I do strongly feel is going to happen hands down. You can see even oil at $100 on the mark now, $99.99. But still, when it comes down to higher gas prices, it is easily going to incentivize people to jump over. Keep in mind our previous earnings when we did have that. Q4 2021, these gas prices were not nearly as high, but yet our reservations still got up to 25,000, and most of that was done from the States. Very positive, and I keep saying that almost every opportunity in every video because that is a actual home run. That is a big deal. But with all that, just want to break it down and go over some short information. So as of right now, 1950 is the short interest, down roughly about 2% from 1 week prior. Utilization is 100%. Day by day change is actually gone up 0.77%, which works out to be 1.86 million shares being additionally shorted. So at the end of the day, I found the last couple of days a little bit more abnormal. So cost to borrow has been going down pretty severely. So right now it is 8.32%. And we did reach a high recently of around 2 weeks ago at 45%. That was the average. So when it comes down to it, the fact that we're at almost 8%, that is a huge difference. And yet our short interest hasn't really gone up. So at the end of the day, I find that as a little bit more of a bullish sentiment. And like I said, you can even see right now, Lucid shares are starting to fight back as far as overall price. And like I said, it's a little bit of fear. That's what's causing us to sell off right now. And keep in mind, 1.7% is nothing at the end of the day, especially if you have a long-term time horizon. But looking on the technicals, this is the bread and butter. This is what's causing a lot of fear in a lot of individuals. So I have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, also RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So you know what? Despite everything though, a very positive key takeaway is number of buyers is still maintaining. So number of retail investors are still finding Lucid an appealing investment. So that is a good takeaway. And so stochastic is currently at 76, a little bit overbought in my opinion, a little bit high. And right now there is starting to have a little bit more of a deviation starting to form. So red line above the black showing a little bit more of a bearish sentiment. RSI is currently at 46, fairly neutral. And on the actual chart, we are actually transitioning from the higher to the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Those are some signals, like I said, the Bollinger Band, the transition, the failure to hold sufficient gains and keep us above that, because right now it does look like we are transitioning. So like I said, there is some bearish signals, and this isn't necessarily, like I said, just happening only to Lucid. A lot of other growth stocks are experiencing the exact same thing. So if we do actually break into the lower percentile, then this most likely will come into play. So I'm just going to show you this, some of the Fibonacci levels. So some pivot points to keep in mind is $24.68, very close to that mark right now. If we do break below that, then you can easily see $21.75 is potentially in our future. So like I said, it is a very slippery slope, and right now, out of everything, we are doing fairly well. We are actually between the pivot and the R1, which most of other stocks aren't as lucky. So most stocks are technically between the S1 and the pivot, if not worse. So like I said, there is a lot of positives to take from all of this if you just read between the lines and not focus so much that we're down 2% give or take. So at the end of the day, like I said, those are some points to watch for, and this is ultimately why we are trending a little bit more down, because the first sight of fear, like I've always said, people panic, especially considering as well, shorts are increasing, manipulation in the market is at all-time highs, and it has been for quite some time. But overall, like I said, and I keep saying, long-term investors are where it is at. They are going to make the most money, but keep in mind though, I am not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. And so I just want to mention as well, if you are looking for a good broker, take a look at Interactive Brokers. I'll leave the link in the description below and also the comments. Just click on the link and take a look, pop around for Interactive Brokers. I really do like that, especially considering it always has breaking news very fast from a lot of different sources. So you can see hypothetically right here how Lucid did post a video on YouTube, so they're even giving updates on that. I particularly haven't even watched it yet, but it does look like it's only a short 43-second video, and looking right here, it does look like only around 4,300 people did watch it, so not too many at that regard. So looking right here though, it's pretty basic. I've already seen kind of tentative things on Twitter as well, but it does look like a pretty cool technology and good step in the right direction. Like I said, these are the things and reasons why we invest in Lucid, because it is a game changer. It definitely makes the customer experience very beneficial, and not only that, it does look like it does work with a lot of different technology, so very positive at the end of the day. So like I said as well, don't forget to pop over on Interactive Brokers. With all that, let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. If you haven't already, smash a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With all that said, let's all have an amazing weekend and make a lot of money on Lucid.